In this video, I'm rolling with Mike again. I think this is our 6th or 7th round together on the channel. He's probably 160 pounds, blue belt. He is, I think, exactly my age. 52, for those that are wondering. There's my new rash guard and shorts. You could pick that up on X Marshall. I'll put the link in the description. Use code Jits over 50. Anything you get is 15% off with that code. And it helps support a worthy cause, the channel. So here I'm showing him X guard. He wasn't familiar with X guard. So the first thing the teacher today, my professor, was teaching was X guard escapes. But Mike's not familiar with X guard, and a lot of people aren't. I don't really find myself getting out of this position often. More so at Marcelo's, but even then not as much. It's a specific kind of guard for the right type of person. And it's good to be short and thick, just like Marcelo, because he gets right into a ball, he gets into that position, and his legs are, he's very thick, he's got big calves, big wrists, and it's easy for him to kind of use his legs to spread out your legs and get sweeps from there. But knowing how to address it is important, because you want to know in what order to strip the foot so you don't get swept. For me, if I get X guard on somebody, 99% of the time I can sweep them. The 1% would be, experienced black belts like Santino, for instance. He was letting me start in X guard and I couldn't sweep him. His jiu-jitsu, I don't know for sure what Nicky Ryan's jiu-jitsu is like, but for some reason I think they have a similar game. They both have thick thighs, thick in general, and very hard to off balance. So here I'm showing him where the pressure should be on both feet. So you want to keep a little bit of tension. You want to keep a little bit of tension, not a lot of tension. You don't want to keep so much tension that you're blowing out somebody's leg or really hurting them, especially in practice. So the goal of the X guard player is to open up the legs. The further apart your legs are, the easier it is to be off balanced, right? Because eventually you'll be in a split. How could you stand up straight in a split? It would be easy to topple you. X guard's a good guard to play if you're playing butterfly guard and your opponent stands up. Because there's no butterfly guard if someone's standing over you. That's when you have to do an ashi entry. And I definitely enjoy, getting to the X guard position, because I feel a lot of people aren't aware of how to counter it. And I think maybe my teacher must have seen that somewhere, and that's why he's teaching these X guard escapes today. So sometimes you want to push the foot down and step over it. You could also step back, high step back. So this is just us during a regular class. So here you want to strip that foot, high step back, high step enough where you can clear both legs. And he went to reverse knee on belly, which is a great position if you're not already familiar. You could also go knee on neck there. A great pin and very annoying.
What'll happen sometimes is I'll go to knee on belly and you start blocking it.
So there was a great example. I was actually showing him what I was saying, which is if you get the knee on belly with a regular knee on belly and they fight it, you could go to reverse knee on belly. Just turn your hips. Again, that hip turn is always an answer. It's always an answer that's waiting there for whatever problems you might be having. And with that hip turn, it didn't take a lot of athleticism for him to put his other knee on me. It didn't have to be a big explosive move. It just had to be precise. So here again, addressing the foot. Well, here I'm showing him where to put the pressure, because you want to flare your legs a little bit, flare your knees. That way those hooks are kind of going in different directions. So this is one of the first sweeps that is taught from X-Guard. I don't know the finite number of sweeps, but I do know the few that I know pretty well. So this is the first one. You want to stretch your partner out. That's what I mean. Once I get to this position, I could stretch somebody out. I could tripod sweep from there as well. So I thought leaving this in would be interesting to a lot of people, since X-Guard's popular, but again, it's still, I think, somewhat obscure. I would think of it as more an advanced guard. Spider guard, X-Guard, reverse de la Hiva. These are things you kind of learn later on. After, of course, you learn your close guard, half guard. Those are your basic guards. So here I'm showing him I had butterfly guard, he stood up, I went right to X guard. Stretched him out. When he fought to come back, I'm able to topple him over and get into a nice leg entanglement. So here I'm playing, I stand up, trying to show him, go right to that X guard. Now I make it look a little bit easier than it is, but once you know the route, once you understand that you have to slide your body in, it's a reverse shrimp. I'm not sure, I'm not sure how many of you practice reverse shrimps, but they're really good because they teach you how to dive in and get under your opponent. So it's the opposite. You wouldn't think to use a shrimp that way. So at MGA Academy, we always practice the forward shrimp as well during the warm-ups. Now, I haven't practiced that in a long time, but it's like riding a bicycle. You never really forget. So here I'm explaining a little bit to him about Marcelo and his body type and why it works so well for him to use butterfly guard and X guard. But it probably would not be advantageous to use for spider guard, or to be a Darce master, or, these are things where longer limbs come into play and become the advantage. My legs are so long, if I grab your sleeve and put my foot on your bicep, I can really control the distance. Again, not to say a short person can't play it, but it depends on both body types. Somebody might have short arms. If they have short arms, my long legs will keep them away. So I hope everybody likes the new shorts and rash guard. I tried to make it just neutral. Let's roll. New York City. If there's anything I could do different, every 6 months or a year, I'll come out with a new one. You guys I'd be more than happy to take any suggestions. I'm also considering doing a live show, but I'm shy. So once I get over my fear, if everybody wants it, I'll do like a live Q&A. So here I'm showing him the value of sliding into the X guard. If you don't slide in, it becomes easy to defend. And this is an example of the reverse shrimp. So start in a regular shrimp. Pretend you just shrimped. Do a shrimp. and then do the opposite forward. See?
Look, see, watch this.
Boom,
Which way am I going?
boom.
Look, which way am I going?
Stop. Go.
As you can see, I'm still pretty good at it. I did a million of those, and they definitely help my jiu-jitsu overall. There's other times to use it. So here I'm telling him to relax. You know, I know Mike's he's watching. He watches the channel, and he's good because of it. You know, I have to give him credit. He really picked up a lot and uses a lot of what I teach, or at least he tries to. So in the early stages, we're directing our bodies to do certain functions, and we don't realize that we're still using too much effort, or we're too stiff, or we're running, right? We don't really have like this bodily awareness. See there, he tried to backstep, and I hooked his leg and brought him back. That was pretty cool. That's a great example of bodily awareness. That might not be a technique that I would specifically teach, but it exists. So there I'm trying to let him pass my guard. I'm like spinning backwards into him and holding him off with my elbow and knee, because I want to see how he feels. See, as soon as I felt his weight come off, I was able to start sitting up, make space, and get my guard back. And it took very little effort. It just took trying to sit up at the right time. Sometimes if you're playing guard, just stand up. And this is more for when you're competing. If you're doing no-gi, you know, if you watch guys compete in no-gi, they stand up. In MMA, I mean, you're not just going to lay around. But in class, it's okay to get swept, play guard, sweep back, do all these things, because it's still good to know how to sweep and understand jiu-jitsu deeply. If we just stand up every time somebody tries to pass our guard, we won't have a guard. And if we do get put on our backs, you're going to get finished pretty quick. And we see this a lot. Even just now, Kanan Duarte couldn't get out from underneath Nicky Rod. And I'm not saying he's not awesome, but he wasn't even trying. He wasn't hip bumping. He wasn't turning on his side. I mean, I couldn't believe it. It was like he had no answers for that position. And of course, the guy's amazing. But it's interesting because he's probably never in that position. Very rarely, if ever. Whereas guys like me, I'm there all the time. That's what happens when you either don't play guard or you never get your guard passed. That last line of defense is after they're past your legs. You still have to have something. So here I've just been fending him off. We went to live rolling as I'm bloviating. Mike is still too stiff, so that's his problem. And it was my problem at one time. We all have different issues. Stiffness is very common and is a self-deprecating joke between me and my Kung Fu friends. We would always say, oh, he's stiff. That means like, you're not good, basically. Because you want to be fluid. See, I'm holding him off, but I'm not. I'm trying to do an arm drag that he's fighting. But I don't want him to grab my other leg. That's why I was leaving it dangling that way. So after a while of playing bottom and fending him off with my frames and my butterfly hooks, I'm looking to finally set up a sweep. So look, I'm controlling his arm. I don't want him to be able to put it out. He's playing very cautiously. Oh. So that was a good example. I remember Marcelo used to send guys flying, like flipping like a couple of feet into the air on the butterfly sweep, and I thought he was just, I don't know. I didn't know why I didn't realize why it was necessary, but why it's necessary is even if they try to base, they can't, because they're up in the air. And that was a great example of it. So here I'm on his back, but I have one hook in, which I actually prefer. I like this side position. As you can see, look, I'm pulling him into me. I have a lot of movement from there. I feel like when I get both hooks in, I'm kind of stuck to that position. Also, my old instructor always said, you only need the bottom hook in. He said the top hook going in is for competition, to score the points. But the real advantage is having that bottom hook. So that ends the round. More to come with Mike. If you want to see our prior rolls, I'll put the links in the description. He's come a long way.
Oh, he's going easy. I'm just. No, but that's not cool.
And I really just appreciate everyone. I appreciate all the kind words in the comments. That means a lot to me. It keeps me motivated.
That's why I have so many viewers.
Once again, X Marshall, if you find value in my content, use the X Marshall link in the description. Anything you buy off there is 15% off with code Jits over 50. You could buy the rash guard, the shorts.
Super slow-mo of you flying.
There's also a buy me a coffee link. I appreciate everyone. If it wasn't for you, I wouldn't have a channel. Thank you for watching. Please like, share, and if you haven't already, subscribe. Thank you.
Always have a head.